Well, hi guys, it's that time. It's our Bible teaching snippet of the day. Well, as you can see, I'm in my car. I just finished with a 90-minute massage. So I'm not made up. You can tell I just threw myself together and came to town. In fact, when I finish this little video, I'm probably going to put my ball cap on, okay, tie my hair back and do that. So I'm not all made up pretty for you today. Now, I do have a teaching to do that I printed some stuff off to show you and keep digging into, pulling back the layers of the different uses of the word Gehenna in our New Testament. But I don't want to do that in my car today, okay? So what I want to do instead is I want to talk to you a little bit about a conversation thread that I was involved in on a friend of mine's Facebook page, okay? And I was having a conversation with a guy by the name of Vic, okay? And I asked him some questions, okay? And so I pointed out in a question form that when Jesus sent the disciples out to all the world, Jesus did not commission them to warn people about eternal conscious torment in a lake of fire or in hell. This is found in Matthew 28, okay, where Jesus says, go into all the world and preach the gospel, okay? None of the disciples, and if you want to call them the apostles, taught or warned about hell anywhere in the book of Acts. And this also includes the Apostle Paul. It's just not there, okay? Now, his response is that the disciples did not have a revelation of hell yet. Later, in the book of Revelation, John would be revealed about eternal conscious torment in a lake of fire by Jesus. That's his response to me. Okay. Now today I want to talk to you a little bit about that, and I'm going to do what I normally do. I'm going to ask you to think along with me now, and let's ask ourselves questions, okay? So question number 1. Did Jesus really fail to teach his disciples and to equip them to go out and preach the true gospel to people and leave out eternal, never-ending, conscious torment in a lake of fire? Guys, this is a very relevant, important part of the gospel, if it is, in fact, part of the gospel. Okay? So what we're accusing Jesus of is not preparing his disciples, not giving them a full understanding of what message he wanted them to go out with. That's question number 1. Number 2, why would Jesus wait till 90 AD, the estimated time of the writing of the book of Revelation, by the man by the name of, and this is what they call him, John the Revelator? Why would Jesus wait until 90 AD to tell anyone about eternal conscious torment in a lake of fire? Why would he do that? Okay. Number 3, the Gospel of John, the disciple who became the Apostle John, his gospel, the timeline of that gospel, is also 90 AD. Why are the words Hades or Gehenna, lake of fire, missing out of the Gospel of John, but it's in the Revelation of John? That's a tough one right there. The word hell is not in the Gospel of John. The Greek word Hades, the Greek word Gehenna, the Greek word Sheol, the Greek word Tartarus, or the Hebrew word Sheol. None of those are in the Gospel of John. Let's go a little further. 1st, 2nd, and 3rd John, not in those either. We've got a problem here. Okay, so are you telling me that I'm supposed to believe that Jesus sent his disciples out halfway prepared, and from 32 AD till 90 AD, the apostles and all the missionaries that went out got the gospel message wrong? And then, when John the Revelator has this vision of Jesus, now we are on a different gospel to warn people about going to hell for all eternity. Now, those are my thoughts about that conversation. He just told me, basically, he resorted to insulting me and telling me that I had no discernment. And they always do that, though. Look, when someone cannot answer your logical questions, then they will resort to name calling or sometimes change the subject. But let me give you a little more information, because I made some notes here, and this is from an older post that I did last year. Okay. When we read the New Testament letters, do we see evangelism as warning people about God's wrath, the escapism of not being under God's wrath? Do we see the missionaries, the apostles, the disciples, telling people to say a sinner's prayer so they won't go to hell? And let me put it this way. Do we see them teaching a destination gospel? Say this prayer so you can go to heaven and not hell. And my answer to that, my friends, is no, we do not see that in the New Testament. The book of Acts does, have the word hell in it in some translations, like the King James Bible. It's found in Acts chapter 2, verse 27, and Acts 2:31. And it's actually a quote from the Old Testament, Psalms 16:10. And I'm going to read that to you now. Because thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, neither wilt thou suffer thy Holy One to see corruption. Verse 31. He, seeing this before, spoke of the resurrection of Christ, that his soul was not left in hell, neither did his flesh see corruption. Now that's from the King James. But what the actual Greek says is, because you will not abandon my soul or my life in the grave. In the grave, like in a hole or in a tomb. Okay, you're not going to abandon me in the grave. Nor will you let your Holy One experience decay. That means he's not going to leave his body there for it to rot. Okay. So, let me see what else I have here as far as, so now what I want to do is I want to take you, because this is important. We see in the book, if you go over to Bible Gateway and you do a keyword search in the King James Bible, the word hell, what you're going to find is that the word hell is found in the King James Bible 23 times in the New Testament. The three words that are translated hell, and I shouldn't say translated, that bad on Bible teacher. What we see where the word Hades, Gehenna, and the one-time use of the word Tartarus, all three of them were removed and substituted with the word hell, meaning burning fire. The word Hades, again, means the realm of the dead, or the unseen, the grave, all of that, okay? The second one, Valley of Gehenna. Gehenna is a place in Jerusalem outside of the city where they burned garbage. And then in Peter, I believe it's 2 Peter, okay? The word Tartarus is used one time, and that is a prison of darkness where angels, fallen messengers, are chained up. No word about burning flames for all eternity. Okay, those are your times that you see this. Now, what's more important about what I just told you, and I can post this on my Facebook page, okay? So we see the 23 times were in Matthew, Mark, Luke, nothing in John, the book of Acts twice, I just went over that with you, one time in James, which is talking about Gehenna. I'm going to do a teaching on that. 2 Peter, and then we find 4 times in Revelation. Those are your 23 times the word hell was inserted and substituted into our New Testaments, okay? I think what's more important is where we don't see that word. You do not see the word hell in any of Paul's writings. You do not see the word hell in the Gospel of John. Should I go further? We definitely have a disconnect on what's really being taught to us in the New Testament. And that's why I think this teaching about how hell got into our Bibles, how the doctrine of eternal conscious torment was put into our churches in the 5th century by the Roman Catholic Church through the teachings of St. Augustine. This is so important. Our gospel message is not to warn people about a wrathful, angry God who wants to burn people forever in hell. Okay? I pray that you're following me. Now, for me to wrap this up today, what I think I want to do is I want to talk to you. I said that, he said that the boys didn't have, or the disciples and apostles, the missionaries, did not have a complete revelation until 90 AD in the book of Revelation. Did you know that it took 300 years for the church, the Roman Catholic Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church, 300 years to put the book of Revelation into canonized scripture? The reason is because they did not know who wrote it for sure, yes, and they did not know who it was written to specifically, what all that symbolism meant, and when all of the events actually really happened, or if they were yet to come. There were so many problems with the book of Revelation that it was rejected, and it still is by many churches in the Eastern Orthodox Church. But here's the thing. Would Jesus actually send the disciples out to give people a partial message from 32 AD to 90, and then add yet another rule to the gospel message of repent, say a sinner's prayer, or you're going to bust hell and burn forever? Guys, this is not true. I'm going to read you something, okay? The original penalty for sin is consequential. I'm tongue-tied. It's consequential, okay? Punishment. It is not retributive punishment. What do I mean by that? The sin has its own consequences that people will experience, but it's not retributive, a get-even type punishment on God's part. I hope that made that clear to you, but let me keep reading what's written here. To change the penalty after the fact is a post facto law, okay, imparting a penalty that did not exist when a crime was committed. That is called post facto law. It's illegal and it can't be changed. In this case, we are accusing God of changing a finite punishment, which is you do this, this is what's going to happen to you, to an infinite punishment which lasts for all eternity. Let me explain that. In Genesis chapter 3, God clearly says, when you disobey me, eat from that tree, you will die. You will surely die. He did not say, you are going to die and I'm going to throw you in hell and torture you forever. He did not say that. The consequence of what Adam did was death. That's the outcome of his choices. God would not be a fair and just judge to then later on wait until Jesus comes and starts preaching hell, fire, and brimstone, as we accuse Jesus of doing, by the way, in the book of Matthew. That is post facto law. God is changing the rules 4,000 years later. So poor Adam thought he was just going to die, but now he's finding out that God isn't even honest with him about what's going to happen. And so now he's not only dead, he's going to burn in hell forever. We need to think about what we are believing about this false doctrine of eternal conscious torment in a lake of fire. Well, guys, I got to sign off. I got to go in and buy me a few vegetables because you already know I don't eat anything that's got eyeballs or a booty hole. If it's got a mama or a daddy, eyes or a booty, it don't go in my body, right? So I got to go get me some wonderful vegetables and healthy food to fuel this body, my temple that I honor and am grateful to have. So, guys, before I sign off, I want to tell you this. I love you. I don't expect everybody to agree with the things that I teach, but I do know that I am teaching the same things that the early church taught, during the days of Jesus and shortly after Jesus, and up 500, 600, 700 years during that time period. And it does not include eternal conscious torment in a lake of fire, and it does not include us abusing and killing and chopping up innocent beings and labeling it food. Anyway, I love you, and I will see you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.